Hi everybody, it's me Julie, and I am just coming at you real quick because I'm going to do some journaling. This is very easy collage journaling, beginner friendly. A few weeks ago on Instagram I showed a whole bunch of ladies that I cut out of an old yearbook that nobody wanted anymore. So I'm just going to use those today. I found a page I want to work on in one of my journals. It's a music page and I just want to obscure it a little bit. So I've taken a piece of kind of see-through paper. You can use vellum or any kind of like filler paper and just kind of cover over it. And I've added another piece of tea-dyed paper at the top. You don't have to use the same page. I've already added some washi tape to this paper, which is kind of sitting around on my desk, so I grabbed it. So just put a couple pieces on the background. Then I've got this piece of scrapbook paper that I like. I'm going to tear it. I like the torn edge. It gives it some interest. I'm just going to position it exactly where I want it, and then I'm going to find some washi tape to fill in some of the gap that I left, because when I leave it like that, it kind of looks like it's floating. So a tip is, if you don't want items to look like they're floating, you need to find a way to connect them, whether they're all touching the same kind of background or all the pieces are kind of overlapping each other. It's layering, and that's how it makes your collaging and your journaling look cohesive. So don't be afraid. I love to use washi tape, and you can see here I'm using different versions, but they all have the same tone, and then I'm ripping it in half. All right, it creates another kind of mimic of the paper that I ripped earlier. It gives it that softer edge. So don't be afraid to alter up and layer up your washi tape as well. I've got this old stamp I love. I don't think you can find it anymore. It's a tiny type. And I'm just kind of kissing the page with my stamp. I'm not going for perfect stamping. I'm just adding some ink, and then I'm just touching it around in places, so you get a little bit of a text image in some places. And of course, inking the edges is very important. Pulled out my trusty Tim Holtz Distress ink. Can't live without it. So I actually had a conversation with a friend the other day. She's like, what kind of ink do you use? I'm like, oh, from your pens or what? She goes, no, the edges, Julie. So I had to tell her Distress ink is my favorite for that. All right, so I tried out a couple girls, and this is the winner right here. She's just the right size to go on this page. And of course, you can see I've overlapped the edges, and I felt like it needed a little bit more at the top. So I added a darker piece of washi tape at the top just to bring some of that white space down. And of course, a little bit of something at the bottom too, just to help everything be grounded. She's looking mighty nice right there, I think. We're just going to glue her down. And whenever I'm gluing a girl down and that, the legs are still, like it's a complete image all the way, I like to glue her right along the edge of the paper. It just hides the seam, and it just creates, to me, a very balanced look in my eye. So there's another tip for you. Put her legs right on the seam of the papers. Now I have this very old tissue paper, and it is all kinds of words like she did this or she did that. So I'm going to find a phrase that I like in here. Okay, now that I've got our words ready, I feel like she's working in an office, so I'm finding a Rolodex card. I've got a couple of different ones here, and I'm just finding the one I like. It fits right behind her skirt, and ripping the edges, another torn edge, kind of adds cohesion. Loving that very much. Going to ink her up, all right, all around the edges. And then at this point, I decided I need a little bit more color, so I'm going to pull out some other Tim Holtz Distress ink, some of my minis, and I've just got a slick surface here, my little ceramic cupcake I made just for using my wet media with. I'm just adding a little bit of the color down, just squished it from the ink pad, added some water, and then I swiped my card through it. I used, I think it's peacock feathers and picked raspberry to do a little hot pink and blue. And of course the distress ink with the brushed corduroy that I edged it with also blends with the water, so it kind of adds another watery element to it. They all run together and I love that so much. All right, I'm cutting my phrase. I accidentally cut one of the words in half, but not gonna sweat it. I'm just gonna glue it all together. The phrase I actually end up putting on there was, she knew there had to be a better way. She decided to be brave. Love how she came out. I love the words I got to choose on that one. Okay, pulling out another new journal. This is kind of my office work journal, which I don't know how to explain it other than things about office and work or maybe jobs I've had. But I'm going to go in with this smaller little lady. It is a smaller page. I'm starting already with a piece of scrapbook paper as the page. I had this stamped image on my desk, so I just kind of ripped it and added to it a piece of pink ledger that was also already on my desk. That's what I'm telling you. Find what's just sitting around you. Don't overthink it too hard. I had this little scrap of paper that had a number on it that I kind of liked. So I'm going to glue those together and get that set down. And of course, you guessed it, that lady is going to sit right on the seam where they join. And that makes me super happy. I feel like I should name her now. All right, I found this stack of paper at the thrift store. It's an old Chamel, but I'm looking for, I love the colors of it. They're kind of a vintage feel, but I'm looking for the numbers. And I go all the way through the page and it happens to be right at the back. That one right there, I feel like it's gonna be a good contrast. It's got some yellow, it's got some pink, and it also has gray and white to go with the images that I have. Just trimming her up a little bit to fit right on top. And I'm going to ink all those edges as well. Don't forget, very important. It really adds that vintage character. Just concealing your white edges just can change the game sometimes. So you can see I don't even use a blending tool. I just take my ink pad straight to the piece and then just go around edge it. This is with lots of practice. And also, guys, my ink pads, some of them from Tim Holtz Distress ink pads are 20 years old already. So they also know what they're doing at this point. I find this rose and I additioned it right there. Just kind of ripped her out and she's going to go in the corner and kind of add, bring the eye across the page from the black and white on one side, down bottom corner up to the top right corner. So think about composition as well. There's another tip. All right, just add some colors, similar colors are kind of across the page. And line her up right on that seam. And she's cute. I've got these Tim Holtz snippet stickers. I love these. And the one I chose to use today was Every Road Should Have a Path. So I'm going to go in and kiss it again with my same text stamp. And then I'm inking the word strip. Actually mounted it to some paper and I inked the edges of the mount to it, and that's it. Like, how simple is that, but how cute is that? I forgot I had this vintage tape. It's not quite washi tape, it's more like cello tape. And I just decided I'm gonna go ahead and tape down like all the edges like I'm taping it in place. It's a bit fiddly and it's pretty dark, but don't let that stop you. Don't be afraid. Just sometimes, you know, just try things out. If you hate it, you can always take it off. But I don't hate it, and it looks like I just taped it all on with some old vintage tape, and there she is. Very super cute, very easy. Thanks for watching. Bye, y'all.